Welcome back to the New Path campaign for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. We are going into the 21st mission of the campaign. Next destination, Polaris. This morning, the Security Council and the Division Directorate have authorized our next mission. The Soyakaze is now en route to the Polaris system. As you are all aware, the situation in the systems of Polaris, Regulus, and Sirius is still somewhat tense. The repercussions of the NTF rebellion and the losses during the Second Shivan incursion have left the GTVA fleets in those systems massively thinned out. While we have made some progress in replenishing those fleets, there is still a long way to go, especially in the case of Sirius, where the first wave of new ships for the Ninth Fleet is scheduled to arrive next month earliest. Local law enforcement is doing the best they can, but they are understaffed and under-equipped as well. So the, how does the Soyakaze transit jump nodes to between major systems without anyone noticing? Militia situation. This situation has led to the rise of a large number of militias in those systems, around 75 in total. The good side of it is that they have kept the piracy low, but unfortunately the majority of those factions aren't our allies either. Anti-Alliance and anti-Vasudan sentiments were and still are prevalent in those systems, one reason the NTF was so successful there. Especially in Regulus and Polaris. Sirius is a bit less problematic in this regard, thankfully. Otherwise, the current situation with the Vasudans helping out in this system might not have worked out at all. These factions vary in size and available equipment from small to medium size, and their ships are mostly civilian or old military designs, depending on what they could afford. Each of them on their own can be considered more of a nuisance to the Alliance, and so far our presence there was sufficient to prevent any real conflict. We want to stay that way. And that's where analytics sees a potential problem coming up. For several weeks now, there have been efforts among those militias to consolidate them into one large organization. The initiators of that movement call it the United Terran Alliance, and they have been busy trying to convince the leaders of the major factions to join that cause. Obviously, being larger comes with a lot of advantages for them, and more striking power in particular. Analytics believes that these efforts are on the verge of being completed, and the projections indicate that such a new faction could indeed seriously endanger our position in those systems, and potentially even spread to other systems. We cannot let this happen. That looks like the alternate universe Terran Empire from Star Trek's symbol. Luckily for us, analytics also suggests a relatively easy solution to this problem, following the old strategy of divide and conquer. Historically, there has been a great deal of distrust between those factions, and only recently they have been successful in reducing that using their common ground of disliking the GTVA in general and New Path in particular, and of course their hate for the Vasudans. But the old reservations towards each other are only thinly painted over by that. Under the surface, they are still very much careful of not trusting each other too much. We will exploit that. Our mission here is to fan those embers of distrust to the point where open conflict is incited among those militias and any chance of consolidated alliance goes up in flames. This might lead to a slight increase in violence in these systems, but we believe that our chance to contain that is way better than our chances of dealing with a consolidated United Terran Alliance. Specific mission briefings will start as soon as we arrive in Polaris. Dangerous Alliance is the mission. The Soyakaze has arrived at our parking position at the edge of Polaris, and we arrived just in time. One of our operatives within the militias has informed us of a meeting between several factions that is going to happen within the hour. The goal is to negotiate conditions for the involvement of those factions in the upcoming UTA. The participants belong to some of the smaller or medium-sized militias here in Polaris, so not the big players, but important for the UTA. Nevertheless. Our operative will take part in this meeting, but they were unable to tell us which type of ship they will be flying. So we're going to have to take this down while not killing our agent. According to our intel, most of the ships used by these factions are very old fighters, both civilian and former military. We expect Apollos, Valkyries, and Claymores. Valkyries, Claymores, Kulosses, and so on. All of those were designed before 2354, so they all used the Mark III fighter command and control systems. This generation of FCCS had several significant security vulnerabilities in the remote access components, and we will exploit one of these. To create the impression of them starting the fight, we will hack their fighters and force them to open fire on one another. Unfortunately, this weakness can only be exploited on short distance and while out of combat. Alpha, you will jump in on the far side of the asteroid field and make your way to the meeting point and Pegasus stealth fighters. By jumping in so far away, your jump flashes should go undetected. Your ships will be equipped with the necessary equipment to execute our hacking operation, as well as communication scramblers to prevent all enemy communications. The command sequence introduced to the fighters will not only allow the remote firing of their weapons, but also disable their jump engines to prevent escape. Keep in mind, your fighters may not appear on radar, but you're not invisible. Stay below the enemy ships in order to avoid their field of view. The first thing you have to do is identify the ship of our operative. They'll use a narrowband transmitter to emit a tracing signal, which can only be received at close distance. The hacking subroutine will check for that signal and abort the process when it's detected. Prepare at least 6 of the enemy ships and identify our operative. Once you have done that, you can give the signal to start the fight. From this time on, the communication scramblers will also be activated, so you don't have to be too careful anymore about being seen. Protect our operative's ship until they escape. Because their survival is crucial to tell the story of the betrayal among the militias without the risk of any witness mentioning our involvement. Once the operative... not just because we don't want our own operatives to die. Once the operative is away, make sure all the other ships are destroyed. Don't let any of the ships escape. When the area is clear, you may return to base. One last remark. You won't have a support ship for this mission. If you give away our presence too easily and potentially stop them from fighting each other. Start in 20 minutes. Alright, primary objectives. Disrupt the UTA meeting and protect the division operatives. Secondarily, stay undetected until the fighting starts. No tornadoes? Hornet's no good. We'll do that for those. We'll do that for our wingmen. I'd rather have the Prometheus. Alright, seems good. Let's hit it. Command, we have arrived at the target coordinates. Acknowledge, you should have the enemy ships on your radar. Confirmed, although the signals are unclear due to the asteroid field. Distance approximately 9 clicks. Approach the meeting point, but stay below those ships. Affirmative. I'm only assuming that pitching down will get me below them. Ships in Freespace tend to be oriented all the same way. This could be interesting if Recon is right about the ship classes we will find there. Some of those are older than we are. Usually, Analytics is really good at this. I'm sure we will find exactly those classes there. I would like to find an original Apollo. I haven't flown one of those since the Academy. Boss, remember the old Apollo simulator we had there? Yes, that was a relic in and of itself, but you're right, flying the training Apollos there has some charm, although I wouldn't want to fly one of them in combat nowadays. We shouldn't rule that out. We have some Apollos in the Soyakaze, and they can be used for combat if the mission requires so. Oh boy. Looking forward to it, but it won't be exactly the same. Our Apollos has had some modifications after all. I should hope so. At least we might survive that mission then. Alright, starting to be discreet. There they are. We're approaching the target area. I see about 20 ships. And the types are expected. Apollo, Valkyrie, Kulos, Claymore, and some Hercs. Told you the analytics is spot on. I haven't seen such a collection of relics in space for quite some time. Command, we are approaching the meeting point. Confirmed Alpha proceed his plan and identify which of the ships is our operatives. How do I do the hacking thing? Alright, Alpha 2 and 3 stay behind, doing the scanning and hacking. Keep your eyes open in case one of them makes any move. Oh, I have to scan them. Alpha 1, you're too high. If you don't increase the delta Y, the enemy ships might spot you. I have our operative as Ares 3. We have connection to 3 ships, we need at least 3 more. Understood, Alpha, proceed with the operation. On my way. Boss, be careful. You're almost in that field of view. Stay low. Connection to 6 enemy ships confirmed. You can start the attack or continue hacking more ships at your discretion. Alpha 1. We'll increase our odds. That seems good. Let's do it. Sir, an enemy on your 6. Behind you, boss. Someone just jumped. Is it Ares 3? I hope it was Ares 3. Ares 3 has jumped out. Excellent. They can destroy betrayal. Now destroy the remaining enemy ships. Make sure none of them escapes. Get them, boys. Alright. Primary objective complete. All hostile ships have been destroyed. Mission complete. Alpha Wing, you may return to base. No losses. Well done, pilots. The participants of this meeting destroyed each other as expected, and thanks to our operative escaping, the others will hear this story the way we want it told. It won't be enough to stop the UTA yet, but it's a very important first step, and hopefully it will lead to some factions already backing out of this movement. But those weren't the big players in this game, so we still have a lot of work to do. No recommendations. 3 total kills with 2 assists. 1 Herc, 1 Kulos, and 1 CTF Claymore. Bring our all-time total for the second chapter of the campaign to 38 kills with 2 assists. So, this was Dangerous Alliance, the 21st mission of the New Path campaign for Freespace 2 here on Paladin Gaming. This is Paladin Gaming signing off.